Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Political Brown Kid here, and I keep telling y'all about Bill Maher. I swear, I keep telling y'all, and I know y'all probably like, well, why do you keep watching this fool? And you're absolutely correct. I have no excuses, but I'm going to play this. I keep telling y'all about the racist liberal. These are people that they're liberals. They act like they're so progressive, like, oh, we'll give, let the gays be the gays and let women rule the world and let's tear down men and everybody can do what you want to do. But when it comes to black people, then that's when their whole position becomes very racist, very, very racist. Their their slave days come out because, right, remember, it was the Republican Party that was black people's friend. And you look at today, the Democrats try to pass themselves off as your friend, and they're not trying to do anything for you. I'm gonna prove the point too because Joe Biden, when have you heard Joe Biden? He even has a black female vice president, and you haven't heard him. He's been in the White House for 4 years. He hasn't done anything about reparations, but they'll talk it up. And that's only because, too, you remember, Joe Biden's been in the Senate since the 70s. He's been in politics since the 70s, and he was against reparations back then. He basically said, why should I have to pay for something that I didn't have any part in? And I'm going to do a video on that and talking about that old racist conservative Mexican in California and what she said about reparations and black people. But Bill Maher just epitomizes liberal racism. He's all for, like, anytime you start talking about women, he's all for a woman beating a frying pan over a man's head and just doing all kind of stuff. And he's always talking about how horrible men are. He's such a feminist. But then when it comes to black issues, then he starts mocking blacks. You starting seeing him on his panels more and more and more question black people in the stuff that we ask for and basically calling us ridiculous. So let's get into the clip. I just want to play it. Let's go. Here he's talking with Charlemagne the God. Of course, I don't have the visual clip, so I'm going to play the audio with a still frame. But he's talking to Charlemagne the God. And every time he gets Charlemagne on, he wants to corner him and have a race discussion. So let's play it.
So I want to ask you about Morehouse. So this is the speech that Biden made. It was graduation. It was the commencement address. Presidents give it. Morehouse, I guess it's not all black anymore, right? Because I think that's against the law. But it's certainly founded as an all black men's.
It's HBCU. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what'd you think of Biden's message? Because it was very controversial. I know you've talked about it. How would you summarize his message and what are your feelings about it? One of the more controversial things he said to the graduating class that you have to be 10 times as good to get a fair shot in America. And can I read what Glenn Lowry and John McWhorter, you listen to their podcast, I think they're great, said about this. Lowry said, I thought it was the kind of speech you'd have given in 1974, maybe 1984, but not in 1924. McWhorter, for goodness sake, can we please admit the time passes? I remember my mother saying that in the 70s when it still made sense. It's simply not true anymore, and we should celebrate that. You agree with that?
I don't know if it's 10 times better, but maybe 5.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
You think you have to be 5 times?
Yeah. When you black in America, absolutely.
In 2024?
Yeah, when you're black in America, when you're a woman in America, if you're a black woman in America, absolutely.
I think that's a zombie lie.
Why?
Because I just don't think that's America anymore.
You see what I mean? It's the denial. It's the denial. America's not that anymore. Number one, when has he ever been in black people's households to hear black parents or black people say this? Well, I guess, his black friends like to divulge the secrets of black life and they tell him everything. But he just wants to live in denial. But let me address something first before I even focus in on this. Is that, Charlemagne, the one thing I hate is when people start cooning and kowtowing to certain things. Charlemagne at the end is going to say, yes, he does believe that, you have to be 10 times better in America. And he's saying that includes blacks, black women, and women, period. Number one, why are we separating out black women? Why not just say black? We're going down this path where we like to point out and highlight black women. And this is why the race is separated. Just saying blacks covers everything. That's just number one. But then the other part too, why you say women in general? We don't need to, white women don't need anybody advocating for them. White women don't have to be 5 times, they don't have to be just like black people having to be. White women have it very easy. Trust me, on my job, I see them excelling so much excelling so much. They don't have the qualifications, but yet they're directors, senior managers, and they don't even know how to follow management protocol. Trust me, I see it on the job. These white women do not need defending, and these white women don't have to work that hard to climb to the top. And especially if they're blonde. If they're a pretty white woman, they will get promoted. If they're a pretty white woman and are decent at their job, they're decent at their job, and they have ambition to go to the top, they're in. It's a lot for them. They don't need you, Charlemagne, up here running your mouth. Second thing, I'm going back to the main topic, is that Bill Maher, once again, this is what I'm trying to say. He doesn't even want to, he's trying to dispel and debunk everything to make it seem like black people just have so many equal chances at life that white people do. And I've already proven this fact to be wrong. And I'm going to kind of break this down even further, but I just want to show y'all the idiocracy of Bill Maher. And as a matter of fact, before I even go further, I am going to say it here. These celebrities, and I'm talking about Bill Maher and them, they live in bubbles. And that even goes for black celebrities. Because you're going to see once black celebrities make it to the top, and once you're a black celebrity, you can walk into a Walmart and walk into all of these stores and just have white people, Asian people, basically non-black people, smiling at them and looking at them in admiration and, showing them respect, then they just automatically assume, I'm talking about these black people, that racism is dead because they experienced a moment where white people are kissing their butt behinds. I'm going to say behinds. I'm trying to clean my language up. I do apologize. But when you have that type of stuff happen to you, of course, you're going to internalize it. And people always internalize their personal experiences onto the rest of society. And then they try to say, well, anybody can make it. And that is totally untrue. That's similar to when you have a pretty woman who goes from secretary to CEO in a matter of 3 months, try to tell people that anything's possible. And the reason why they didn't get a promotion was because they're just either too dumb or too lazy or what have you. And she doesn't even realize that she gets pretty privileged, or she realizes it, but she just doesn't want to say it, or she just can't make the connection. And she knows she can leverage her pretty privilege to get to where she needs to be. And then she looks down on other people and say that they didn't apply themselves. And this is the same thing Bill Maher is doing. We all know that the statistics came out. I forgot the last statistic or the last report that comes out, but you can go on like Bloomberg, you can go on like CNBC, you can go on any financially based site, Yahoo Finance, and pull articles like this up where they'll let you know. And definitely check out black sources too, because they're going to probably give us more unbiased information and unfiltered that I would trust. Is that they'll let you know a black person with a degree is equivalent to makes the same amount of money as a white person with a high school diploma. These are facts. But Bill Maher, you're going to see later in the video who his sample size audience that he's talking about when he talks about black people making it. And you're going to figure that out. So let's continue.
Let's talk about Caitlin Clark, because it's similar to that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there was a lot of controversy because she's not gotten a big welcome there in the WNBA, which is only 20% white. Here's the Las Vegas Aces star, Aja Wilson, said...
South Carolina, by the way, 803. That's where she's from. I'm from the same.
Okay, I know you are.
That's right. Best women's player in the WNBA, Aja Wilson.
Okay, maybe now. I don't know.
She has been for two MVPs.
I don't follow women's basketball. I said it last week. I don't apologize. I don't follow college. I don't follow lots of sports. I follow just the big three at playoff time.
Gotcha.
But she said, a lot of people may say it's not about black and white. She's talking about her and Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark getting such a big hoopla. It really is, because you can be top-notch at what you are as a black woman, but yet maybe that's something that people don't want to see. They don't see it as marketable. So it doesn't matter how hard I work. Really? You think that's right? I mean, I would say the three biggest stars, most untouchable stars, are Oprah, Michelle Obama, and Beyonce. And marketable, Serena Williams, Simone Biles. I mean, LeBron James, Michael Jordan. I mean, come on.
See, once again, the racism, and racism is a part. When I say racism, it's people don't automatically want to assume that racism has to be something direct and negative and hurtful or something that's going to impact you like just a gut blow. But it's actually also denial. And what Bill Maher is he's delusional. He's in denial. He's not a part of the culture. He will never experience what we experience. He won't even experience. He can't even relate to a middle class white man because celebrity puts you in a different category. That's like any black celebrity can't relate to a non-celebrity. Period. You just really can't. You know, they're robbed of luxuries of just simply going to the store. They can't even walk in a CVS without somebody wanting to autograph, kiss their behind, or having to go without security. Celebrities live a different lifestyle, and so that's why I say Bill Maher doesn't even know what he's talking about. So, and as you can see in this clip here, Asia Wilson, WNBA stars, basically she's putting it out there. Yeah, she does get a pass. And then Bill Maher comes back and just wants to point out untouchable people, Oprah, Beyonce, and someone else. I forgot the third person that he mentioned. But here's the deal. Once again, celebrities are different category. You cannot use a celebrity in a way for a barometer of the mainstream society. The only thing you can do is compare celebrities to celebrities. And that's about it. Like, I'm going to give a comparison right now. When you look at rap artists, once again, I've used this comparison before too, and this is about knowing your numbers. I've done a video on knowing your numbers. People have biases, and some biases are just they're natural, and some biases are they're just good, and some biases are bad. I think the premeditated biases are the ones that's mostly bad. But when you're that's just like if you give a child two dolls, a white kid should gravitate towards a white doll because they should see themselves in that doll, and a black kid should gravitate towards a black doll. And we all know the story about the doll stories, right? Back in the day, because you see yourself. So a young black female teenagers, they should gravitate towards like New Edition and the Jackson 5 and High Five and Troop and all of these other boy band groups. And then young white girls should gravitate towards New Kids on the Block, NSYNC, and Backstreet Boys because those are the guys that you're looking at and oogling over. And then the young Latin girls should be gravitating towards Menudo. And I'm not, those are natural biases. When you naturally listen to something, you're going to naturally listen to. And that's why you see when Run DMC came out, yeah, they sold records. But then the Beastie Boys came out. Once again, they're pretty much the same group, but one's white, one's black. And the Beastie Boys outsell, like 3-5 times outsell Run DMC. Backstreet Boys outsells New Edition 10-20 times. We don't make this stuff up. So and those biases, of course, I'm not trying to say that those are evil biases. It's just unfortunately going to be natural. So when you look at the whole Caitlin Clark thing, yeah, number one, it is the fact that she's a white girl playing in a black-dominated sport, as Charlamagne said. But also the other thing too is young white girls can see themselves in Caitlin. And young white girls, maybe, I'm not trying to say that they are, but maybe they're like, okay, I'm now paying attention to basketball. And of course, like I said, white people, it's about 200 million white people in America. And the average or median net worth for white people, I think it's like $280,000, $290,000. Then you have, in a comparison to 200 million white people, you have 14 million black people. And then you have to picture into how many of these black people are women or young girls. How many like basketball? The same thing you have to do with the white population. And then also, too, man, you have to look at the median household income, $44,000, right? For a black household, it's $44,000, I think. It may be 45. These are numbers from a while ago, I do believe. So there could be updated numbers. But their net worth is like 6 times, 7 times higher than the black households. And they outnumber black people by like what, 10-1, 20-1, in fact. So when you say that, of course, Caitlin Clark is gonna, when you're talking about getting these shoe deals and all of these deals, she is going to get that type of money. And, it's probably not necessarily an overt racist thing, but it is going to happen. And black people are just going to have to be probably confined to that. You're going to have those few blacks that can cross over. So now I'm getting into his other point where he starts talking about the untouchable stars of Beyonce and Oprah Winfrey, and then he names somebody else. Once again, we're talking about celebrities. And then he even wants to throw in Serena Williams, as far as marketability. But when you have to understand, you have to be able to a tennis person as well, because when Venus and Serena first started, they were despised on the tennis tournament. There's videotapes of it. People called them unprofessional. People called them ghetto. People said that they were rude in the sport and they or didn't have bad sportsmanship. There was a lot of negative comments about Venus and Serena, the Williams sisters, when they first came out. And this is a fact. And so now it's similar to like Muhammad Ali. He was vilified and then he got his glory again at the end, but the black community was always behind him. But once again, too, he uses celebrities. And one thing I can tell you is that and LeBron James, I think he used LeBron. But this is the one thing that Bill Maher, once again, fails to understand is that black people just dominate the best sports. Black culture is the culture everybody wants to be a part of. And the only way you can experience the black culture, or the only way the black culture is really quote unquote respected, should I say, every other race likes to imitate us as far as we dress, as far as our style, and they like to imitate us because of hip hop, and I even say R&B, because you can look and see how they copied us with they copied rock and roll, they copied Chuck Berry, they copied Little Richard, but and they'll copy us in sports and entertainment and in fashion. Those are the areas where we're copied. So where are you going to copy us? Because we dominate the best sports. Football and basketball are the best sports, at least in this part of the world. When you're talking globally, now you're talking about football, actually, aka soccer. But once again, when you're talking about football and basketball, those are predominantly black sports that black people dominate. So, of course, white kids look up to those. And then again, when you're talking about music, of course, white people look up to us in music because our music genres dominate. When you look at, once again, hip hop, it dominates. R&B, it dominates. And the black culture just dominates. So once again, Bill Maher is using skewed examples because celebrity is not reality. He's not looking at the everyday person that has to go to work, the electrician. He's not looking at the people that's trying to crack the glass ceiling and move from being, in the bullpit to being in the management suite, and even in being in the C-suite, in the executive suite. So he's not looking at those numbers. And those numbers will easily tell you that white people do not have to have degrees. They can come out and they can get a job and they can be whatever they want to be. And a black person has to have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. And in this day and age, you have to have at least a bachelor's degree plus some type of certification just to get, a nice qualifying job. And the other thing I'm going to say too is that we all know that black people, when you go on your job and you display a certain type of personality, if you don't smile when you're standing around with other white people, if you don't, or if you have like a very, like that stern resting face, that stern face, or if you go on your job and get a little bit aggressive and or challenging in meetings, you're seen as, angry black woman, or you that black male, they call you that black male that's just in the office that everybody is intimidated and you scare me and all of this other stuff. You get labeled as those two, but when a white person does it, they get celebrated for it. Oh, they're good leadership quality. They don't take any mess. They're very stern. They're going to get things done. And boom, it's looked at as a positive for them. And other minority groups probably experience this as well, but I know my black people can relate to that. So I don't know why he continues to look at celebrities. But once again, like I told you, Bill Maher is not a quote unquote normal person. He doesn't live a normal life. So he's going to point at celebrities and think that they live well and that black people can just walk around and that we don't have to work hard anymore. When actually Asia Wilson just proved this point and Charlemagne just proved the point for him. And he's about to prove it even further in the next clip. So let's get into it.
You don't think it's a problem that this young woman, there's so many examples where, I mean, black people are very marketable.
Well, ask yourself
and
this:
she seems to have been indoctrinated into this. They don't see it as marketable, so it doesn't matter how hard I work.
Well,
I don't think that's accurate or healthy.
Well, Asia's been in the league for like 6-7 years. She's got 2 MVPs. She's won a couple of championships, but she's just getting a signature shoe now, right? Caitlin Clark's got a $20 million Nike deal already as a rookie. So how do you explain that?
I don't, because this is somebody who apparently, again, I don't know anything about women's basketball, but they said that she broke all the records in college.
In college, yeah.
Okay. I mean, when people come into the league and they're like the biggest thing in college, isn't that a big deal?
No, because Asia Wilson was the biggest thing when she came out of South Carolina. That's where I'm from. So she was one of the biggest things when she came out of South Carolina, #1 draft pick. And she didn't get all of that. So what do you attribute that to?
See, and once again, and I'm going to be short on this next one because I know y'all tired of hearing me talk. Here he is again. He's still trying to defend the point that black people need to give up this one. That he's basically trying to tell black people to stop whining. If you look at all of his previous clips when he talks about black people, telling black people stop asking for reparations, stop whining about having to work 20 times harder, but as he's saying this, he tried to use the word she's being indoctrinated into this, and he caught himself. He was probably going to say into this black, victimized. He was going to say something negative about black people. But you notice he caught himself, but he used the word indoctrinizing. When people start talking like that, you can tell they're very frustrated and angry at you can tell how much they are against the other person's premise that they're talking about. In this case, he's against Asia Wilson. Now, the other thing too, and I'm going to kind of wrap this up, is the fact that once again, Charlemagne comes back with some glaring and great facts at Bill Maher. And he's like, well, what do you say about, she's been in the league. She was the #1 draft pick when she came out. She's a 2-time All-Star. She's MVP champion. And he's throwing out all of these stats and saying, well, why doesn't she have what Caitlin Clark has? And he's proving Bill Maher to be wrong, or he's proven Asia Wilson's statement to be right. Bill Maher has no answer for it, but instead of just saying, well, you know what, you're right, okay, I didn't look at it from that perspective, instead of sometimes there's just some people, they can never be wrong, and they can never just say, hey, look, I was wrong. So they don't do it. And Bill Maher's proven to be one of those people. Because instead, after Charlemagne presented him with the information, instead of just saying, okay, well, you know what, you got me on that one. Well, hey, I didn't look at it from that. I didn't think about it from that perspective. He just, whatever. And then you can tell he's just not giving up on his position. So that's all I wanted to say. But once again, Bill Maher, eternal liberal racist. Can't stand him. I want to know what you guys think, or just drop comments in the comment section. But hit the like and subscribe button as well. I'm out of here.